I want to show you a pattern that has been running in your life longer than you've been aware of it. And I want to show it to you not as a judgment and not as a diagnosis, as a map. Because a map, even a map of difficult terrain, is always more useful than pretending the terrain doesn't exist. Here is the pattern. Different person, different opening, different quality of connection at the beginning, different reasons this time was going to be different. And then with a consistency that defies the statistical probability of coincidence, the same dynamic, the same specific imbalance, the same particular way of feeling unseen or unheard or used or diminished or simply exhausted by the transaction of being in that relationship. Same ending, same specific exhaustion afterward, same quiet voice asking the same question it has been asking for years. Why does this keep happening to me? I need to answer that question today with more precision than it has ever been answered for you before. It keeps happening because you have been trying to solve a frequency problem with a casting solution. Every time the pattern ended, you did a reasonable thing. You reflected. You identified what went wrong. You made a list, conscious or not, of the qualities you would require differently next time. You chose someone who didn't have the obvious markers of the previous pattern. You were careful, you were intentional, you were genuinely trying, and it didn't matter, because the problem was never in the casting. The problem was in the broadcast. Your nervous system is transmitting a signal continuously, not metaphorically, biologically. The sum total of your unresolved patterns, your unconscious relational templates, your nervous system's definition of what home feels like, all of it broadcasting outward in every room you enter. In every conversation you begin, in every moment of connection you allow to deepen, and certain personality types, specifically the ones that recreate the dynamics your nervous system learn to navigate earliest and most thoroughly, are perfectly calibrated to receive the exact signal. They don't consciously choose you because you are broadcasting availability for a particular dynamic. But their nervous system recognizes yours the way a radio receiver recognizes a specific frequency. The connection feels immediate, feels like recognition, feels, and this is the part that makes the pattern so persistent, feels like chemistry. But it isn't chemistry. It's familiarity wearing chemistry's clothes. Familiarity feels like destiny. Familiarity feels like this person understands me in a way nobody else does. Familiarity feels like finally. But what familiarity actually is at the biological level beneath all that feeling is your nervous system recognizing a dynamic it already knows how to navigate, even if navigating that dynamic costs you everything. The nervous system doesn't select for happiness. It doesn't select for health. It doesn't select for the relationship that will actually feed you. It selects for the known, for the mapped, for the territory it has already built survival strategies around. Because known territory, even painful known territory, is biological preferable to unmapped territory that might be better but arrives without a survival manual. This is why changing the person doesn't change the pattern. The person was never the variable. The broadcast was. I look at the data of this channel and I see this same dynamic operating at scale. 196 subscribers on YouTube, 162 followers on TikTok, Rumble building from zero, 26 people who took the first step toward examining their own broadcast, one who committed to the complete recalibration. The gap between thousands of views and the 25 people who moved is the broadcast running in real time. Most people watching feel the recognition, the deep, precise, this is my entire relational history recognition, and then select the familiar response. Close the tab, return to the known, because the known, even when the known is the problem, feels safer than the unmapped territory of actually changing the signal. That selection, that retreat back into the familiar, is the broadcast selecting for itself, the pattern perpetuating through the very moment that could have interrupted it. But here is what changes when the broadcast changes. It is not the difficult people disappear from your life overnight. It is not that every future relationship becomes uncomplicated and nourishing from the first moment. The world doesn't reorganize itself instantly around your updated frequency. What changes first is recognition. You start seeing the signal in the early moments of connection rather than 3 years into dynamic. You start feeling the familiarity for what it is. Pattern recognition rather than chemistry before it has had time to build the architecture of a full relationship around it. You start making different selections not because you are following a checklist of better qualities, but because your nervous system is genuinely broadcasting from a different baseline and genuinely receiving different signals in return. And gradually, not instantly, not dramatically, but genuinely and permanently, the cast of your relational world begins to reflect the updated frequency rather than the old one. This is not manifestation. This is not the law of attraction dressed in neuroscience clothing. This is basic biological reality. What you broadcast, you attract. Not because the universe is listening, because The specific personality types calibrated to receive your specific signal will always find you, and when the signal changes, the calibration of who finds you changes with it. The mirror practice was built specifically for updating the broadcast, not through affirmations or visualizations or conscious intention layered on top of an unchanged nervous system, through direct biological access to the frequency level where the broadcast actually originates, where the unresolved templates actually live, where the nervous system's definition of home was originally written, and where it can, with the right protocol, be rewritten. 26 people have begun the update. One has completed it. I'm building my own sovereign architecture from 19 euro to word. Every step of that journey requires the same thing. The mirrored practice offers a nervous system broadcasting from expansion rather than from the survival patterns that build the ceiling. The reset is free. 1 minute of direct contact with your own broadcast. The full mirror practice is 19 euro. It is the complete frequency update. You don't have a people problem. You have a signal problem. And the signal, unlike the people, is entirely yours to change. Drop signal in the comments if you recognize this pattern in your own life. I am Tudor. I changed the broadcast. I'll see you at the new frequency.